Hey, welcome back for the second installment of the Rose City Rollers 2020 Home Team Season Opener Games. If you missed our stream with the Heartless Heathers and Guns N' Rollers from last night, you can check it out on our YouTube channel very soon. Tonight, we are watching the second half of the doubleheader with the Breakneck Betties going up against the High Rollers. I'm your host, Puns and Roses, and we have an incredible panel of skaters from both teams joining us tonight. So we are going to introduce first the Breakneck Betties. Hi.
Hi.
Introduce yourselves. Say what position you play and a couple sentences about yourself, like how long you've been skating or that sort of thing.
I am Fleur I've been with the league since 2013, and I've been a Betty for 2-3 years now. I was on the bench this game because my leg was broken, but I was there. I'm Sprout. I use they, them pronouns. I'm a blocker pivot. I've been skating since 2012, and I moved to Portland for Rose City in 2015.
All right. Thank you very much. And now we will introduce the High Rollers. Hi, welcome.
Thank you. Hey.
Going to have you introduce yourselves, say a little bit about how long you've been with the league, and something about yourself if you want to share. Mayday, you want to start?
All right. Well, I moved to Portland in 2014 and got on the High Rollers in 2015. So I guess that makes 6 years, but it's really 5 because we lost a year there for something. I'm a blocker, and I don't know. I was a captain one year and team manager. Might be, well, second oldest on the team now. Not the oldest.
So I'm Coop, and I've been at Rose City for quite a few years. Before that, I skated with the Emerald City Roller Girls in Eugene, and before that with the Ann Arbor Derby Dimes out in Michigan. So I've been skating since 2010, which makes me feel very old now that we're in the 2020s. And I'm a blocker, and I am like one of the captains of the High Rollers and captain the season opener. And the season opener was my last game that I played roller derby. I actually had to stop skating before everyone else with the pandemic because I was pregnant. So that's me.
My name is Bang. I started skating for Rose City in 2015 as a junior, and I aged up in 2018. So this will be should have been around my second season on High Rollers. I took over as being one of the captains for Coop when she told me that she was pregnant at the end of this game, actually, which is a nice surprise. And yeah, I'm a blocker as well, and I'm in Coop and Mayday's pods. And if you see a little cat running around, I apologize. She's a maniac. So
Nothing wrong with having a cat running around.
yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. To set the stage for this game, the teams closed out the 2019 season with the Betties as the champion with first place and High Rollers in third. How are you all feeling coming into this season? Let's start with the Betties.
Yeah, I'll definitely say that we had a lot of changes between the end of the prior season and the beginning of this one. Many wonderful, great skaters who had been with us for a very long time retired, and some skaters were kind of transitioning in what roles they were playing and what positions they were playing. So this year was really supposed to be a rebuilding year for us. Mm-hmm. That didn't go so well, obviously. But
as well as a couple people who broke their legs right before the season started. You're not the only one.
Starting the season out right.
So we definitely knew going in it was going to be a challenging season and a growing season for us.
Okay. So yeah, a couple of your top jammers from the previous season were either not skating or had moved to another role, and seems like Tenacity, one of your pivots from the previous season, had moved to the jamming role. So that take a lot of coordination and trying to figure out how to play with all these changes in terms of people in different positions.
Well, absolutely. And you're redesigning the pod structures, which I know, as the high rollers had mentioned, like they're all on the same pod together, which is really great when you've been skating with the same people for a very long time. You get into a groove, and even just shaking up those groups really changed the dynamic. For example, Tenacity was really a leader in their pod. And really was a very, very strong voice on the track for that entire pod. So taking them out of that role and then transitioning them into a role that was much newer to them and definitely not their comfort zone, but I think in turn, like in their derby journey, made them just incredible and blossom as a skater. But yeah, you can definitely see that it's hard work, and it did definitely affect us.
All right, and high rollers. You know, so you all won the consolation bracket the previous year. What was your mindset coming into this season?
Yeah, I mean, we had actually a couple seasons that were really hard, and so we were really hopeful, I think, coming into this season. I might even say feeling lucky tonight for that game. They commented about like the pod switching up. I actually remember, right before this game, we had people who were having huge anxiety about their own slight changes in pods. So it's always like a stressful thing if you don't feel like you have exactly the people that you're always used to playing with. And every team has to, make changes. And with the new season, we did as well, and we had some new teammates joining us. So we were very hopeful, I would describe it. Yeah, but nervous.
Yeah.
I think you all got 5 new skaters
Yeah,
going into
I
we got
wouldn't
a
say
twenty.
lot.
I wouldn't say like
Yeah.
only 5. Like 5 is still a lot. So
Yeah, it
and I
kind of
think we
feels
also
like
had significant changes to our jammer lineup too.
yes. Yes. Yeah, I would say that like when I joined, that season felt like a little bit of a rebuilding season as well, like figuring out where our groove was. And this season, at least for me, I won't speak on my teammates' behalf, but for me, it felt like kind of like another step in that direction because we had like gotten a little bit of stuff figured out, but like this was going to be the big moment where we like kind of progress that forward, to see how much we could do and to also like integrate all the new people in a way that was like beneficial for everyone. So it was kind of like an opportunity season, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And was there anything that you all did to try to, as either as part of rebuilding or taking those steps forward, to come together as a team, like retreat or trust falls or anything like that?
Lots of
Yeah, we had a
trust.
great retreat right before
Mostly
that season
nothing but
started.
trust.
I think
Sorry.
we had a retreat before this game in the fall, and this was the retreat where we had like a incident with a naked man, and
Right.
like something scary happened like in our near the condo.
Yeah, it was a real
person
bonding
outside. Yeah,
experience when all of us were like
yeah,
huddled in one house together, like
yes,
eating all the like food, and we were just like, it's just gonna bring us closer together.
yeah.
Sounds like there were some fascinating stories from that. All right. Well, thank you all so much. We will get this started. If you're watching here at home, there is a chat. Feel free to ask questions and react to the commentary. And if you have questions, we'll try to answer them as we can. And let's get this rolling.
Well, hello there,
All
Derby
right.
fans, and welcome to season 15 for the Rose City
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
there's
Ginger.
Ginger.
home team
Dress.
bouts here. I'm
Yeah.
the
That was our
captain,
brother.
and I will be
Oh
discussing
yeah,
Ginger
yeah.
looks so nice that night.
Yeah.
Such a
Yeah.
good dress.
Breakneck
She
Betties
looks
in this
like
game to
she
take
looks
on the
great when
High
she gets all
Rollers.
dressed up.
And this should be an epic
Always
battle. These
so
two
impressed.
teams have faced off many times, and as you can imagine, over the 15
He's the right
years,
person to rock a ruffle like
we have
that.
seen many losses and many wins for both of these teams. The last since 2016,
My gosh, it's
both
funny. My heart's like
teams
pounding, like watching this again. It's been so long.
there's a
It
lot of
like,
new skill rollers. You're going to see
so nice
Dakota,
watching it again.
Pixie,
Yeah.
and Maiden to now.
This was
Like that.
my first.
Here come the High
Fly,
Rollers.
fly,
This was my
best.
first game as. Oh, go. Is that Mayday?
What's that?
Sorry, I thought you said something. I was
Oh.
just saying, this was my first game as captain, and I was just really, really nervous. Like, had we done the work this fall, and were we ready? Yeah, so I made,
Yeah.
I think, Bang lead the snake. I was not up for that.
Yeah. And the snake has been around for a very long time. I don't even know how long. A really long time. And it's sort of a tradition, so much so that any new revolution that comes in that suggests the snake be done away with always gets rejected. It's really interesting, the history of the
Mhm.
snake.
Yeah, I don't know when it started, but it was definitely before 2013 because it was still going around then.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like nobody ever wants to lead the snake, and somebody always gets shoved out there.
It's
Mhm.
hard.
Yeah.
That's a hard thing to roll.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. You wouldn't think so, but keeping pace that everybody is cool with is like an oddly difficult task. Like you have to be in front and make sure you're not like dragging everybody along, but also like not being a big roadblock.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
So the position is actually the last person because they're the ones who really have to like. If anything goes wonky, they just have to like go with it.
Somewhere in the
Speaking of
middle, I guess, would be
history,
the sweet
tonight
spot.
is one of our alumni's birthdays. It's Ron's birthday today.
Aw.
So,
Oh,
shout
happy
out
birthday,
to
Ron.
Happy
Ron.
birthday.
You still have season tickets on sale. You should get down here and get involved so you can.
I don't think
check
we have
this all
anything
out.
exciting to say about
Here comes
our
the Breakneck Betties.
introduction movement. It was born of silliness, and it has continued, but only since maybe 2017.
Here they are.
I'm rocking the
Breakneck
jersey
Betties
from
are
that
wild.
meeting,
They
which
are
is not.
Oh yeah, we didn't have our jerseys
Our
yet.
T-shirt jerseys.
champions.
Where are your cat cutouts?
They have lots of big fans.
Ivy
Cat
had
cutout?
those. Ivy retired that
Okay.
year.
I've been here all 15 years, and
The cat cutouts are really good.
always had a strong
Yeah.
They were so good.
I feel like she definitely texted me and was like, "Do you want me to bring those?" And I was like, "I don't have room in my brain to think about your cat cutout. I would like you to be
last year's championship.
somebody else wants to be the cat wrangler."
Final score was Breakneck Betties 150.
Let's see. Who's this? This was the first game for Pound and Ella and Peter and Tringle. Yeah. So y'all had time for. I don't even remember if we had a full roster for this game. Probably not. For this one, we definitely didn't. If this one was full, then the next one.
I don't even remember whose first game this was. I feel like I'll have to like see it.
Well, Bruce might
Bruise.
have.
Yeah.
It was, I
well,
think,
at least-
Sting first time
Yeah.
gearing up.
Yeah. Also, this game is kind of funny
and-
because. Go for it.
Go ahead. Assassin.
No, I was just gonna say that like
first
this game. Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Except for obviously the like preseason game, but like first like.
Oh, right.
Home team game. Very exciting. Yeah. This game is kind of funny though because it's like we watch it back now, and these were the pods that we had predominantly the season before, and then everything got scrambled for like very necessary reasons. But it is kind of funny watching back and seeing like what the original lineups were in the beginning because now I have like Pitcha in my pod, and Bruce was in my pod, but is now gone. So I miss Bruce terribly, terribly, terribly.
Yeah, and
But it
then
is kind of
Coop
funny like
left.
watching.
Yeah.
Wait, is Dakota
Yeah.
still in your?
Sorry, say it one more time.
Oh, is Dakota still in your pod?
No, Dakota was in the opposite pod. Dakota's with Pixie, and do we still have Spocker for this game? We didn't have Spocker for
There's
this
a
game.
No.
game
Spocker
with
for this.
and Dakota and Diana have like a piece there in this game at some point. I guess it's just happenstance or whatever, but it's really beautiful.
Still got about a half a track to catch up there. This pack was very fast.
Obi is officially retired, and also is a doctor now.
Wow.
Oh, that's amazing.
All right, here comes our pod. Mayday, Bang, and me, and Bruce. Was that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, question for a more general audience: what is a pod?
So you can only
Is it a
have
group
five
of
on the track at a time, and every 2 minutes or less, you're switching out players from the bench. And so, since you're switching out players every other jam, it makes sense to kind of have half the blocking pod work together and half the other blocking force working together, that you're always trading out and always trading with people that you're familiar with.
Yeah. We try to maintain consistency in that. I know that like for us in this particular pod, we had Psycho as another person that could like sub in, but we consistently like skate and practice with the same people just so that we have like Lethal said, like that consistency. And like we know what the other person's gonna do instead of mixing it up all the time.
right? So when you take Coop out there, she's going to be the one that's messing people up. She's the primary option.
Oh, yeah.
We can say this out loud now because we're not. We're telling all our.
For me personally, I was the offense in that pod, so I knew my job was to go try to help my jammer get through. But I also, like I had mentioned earlier, I had actually just become pregnant, and so during this game, I was just having like terrible morning sickness, and also just feeling super dizzy, and so it was meant a lot to me to know that like Psycho was on the side ready to take my spot if I just needed to sit and regain my bearings. So it's nice to know like who fills where, and you have that support from your team.
Well, and even within the pod, you'll end up kind of specializing in, I really do a lot of defense, or I do a lot of offense, or I always like the inside, or this like the outside. And knowing what your role is within your pod makes the reaction a lot faster.
Yeah. And we do have like roles. Like there are people who are like primary defense, secondary defense, primary offense, and secondary offense. And those can get kind of mixed up sometimes, like depending on the situation. But typically we maintain those roles and it makes it easier to like execute plays and stuff like that.
I was watching myself do offense for Polly there, and I just remember preseason being like, oh god, she just moves so fast I can't even figure out how to do offense for her, and it felt really great to like maybe almost figure it out when we came to this game, because she does move very fast.
So fast.
Yeah.
This is our call.
I would like to give a shout out to Jam on Hawthorne. The second year they've been with us.
So, do you all have any pregame rituals to get yourself in the right mindset for going out there?
Oh, I definitely have one I want to share. So the high rollers, we always pass like a ball or an apple like in the crook of our neck from person to person. And I did that at this like before every game, and you have to like pass it without using your hands. And so I did that at this game, and it was the last time I did it, because at our games after that, I had heard about like this thing called COVID-19, and I was pregnant, and so I was like, I'm not gonna get all close in your faces, and I would just like stand out of the circle. Yeah.
Yeah. We also do like a
Watch this moment.
I'm sure it has a name, but
entire line by herself. Sorry, that was beautiful.
No, that was
Love
such
Yeah.
good offense on
Offense
Dame's
opens
part. I could
everything
not get
up
over
and
her.
makes it real easy for Carl to pick up those points.
Yeah, that was
Little
a
jump
great
stop
seal
from
off on the
Daye
outside edge
taking
there
it
by
out,
Dame.
Carl, and now they're going to play a little.
Yeah, Dame is proving
When Dame
at
started,
this point that not only is she a world class jammer, but she is actually also a world class blocker. And just her, the offense
absolutely.
and the timing and awareness that she shows in this game are really so beautiful.
Do you think that having all that time as a jammer helps Dame sort of have the awareness of like where jammer's going and how to block?
People who cross either direction, it only makes what you do even better, understanding the other side of the game.
Hmm.
4 points being put up for Polly Cracker, and this is a tight game, 21-18.
Her offense, I think, sometimes is so great because she sees what the best position would be and then goes there. So even if a jammer is newer and doesn't know to look for that, if all they know is follow Dame, she's going to help them make the best chance of success and the best choice.
Well, I think that is Lur's Lemon. Yes, that is. That is
Well, that's
Lur's
pretty awesome.
Lemon. There's a slight pack
I think
advantage for the High
Pixie's gonna
Rollers.
go
They've
do
got
something
all
here.
4 of their
She's there
blockers
on
Oh,
the
Yeah.
outside.
only 3 out there for the Breakneck Betties, but as you
This is one of my favorite
Yeah.
Lurs games because she
strong,
doesn't even get
paced
lead
it out
because she
by
actually got a no pass, no
Dame,
penalty
but
around
beyond
Dame.
Thunder Dame gets
But
the
it doesn't
rebound.
even
That is
matter.
going to
She's just like, that's okay, I'm
Yeah.
fast
Lur's
enough. I
Lemon
can
to
just keep cutting around through.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and sticks the
Yeah.
landing.
Yeah. Dame tried to get Lurs there, but didn't matter.
Nope.
Yeah, Breakneck Betty's got to get some
Yeah.
grease in the back of their
The
head
toe
here
stop
somewhere
worked.
because there's
Toe stop
another
worked.
4 points for Lur's Lemon. That's 8 in this jam, and High Rollers take the lead back 26-21. Just under 24 minutes left in this.
All right, so there's been 5 jams and 3 lead changes. Does that sort of like, that kind of like back and forth at the beginning of the bout, does that kind of set your emotional state high, or are you all just sort of like heads down, not even worrying about that?
Yeah, I
I don't
definitely
even look at the score.
thing and just jam by jam, every jam.
Oh, and a cut track on Spring
Yeah.
with it.
When it
Almost
comes to
free to
like
go, but
games like
not
this,
so
it
much.
kind of
This
feels
is going
like
to
you
be
don't
a
really have a
power
choice
jam
but to keep
benefiting
your head down and
Kassassin.
work,
If you've ever
because
watched Kassassin skate,
it's
holy
like the
smokes, they've
first
got some
grand
speed
thing out of
and
everything, and you
jumps.
want to make sure that like
There's
you're
the whistles
putting
going
it
off
all out
all
there.
over
And
the
obviously,
place.
it's
Looks
like that
like
for
there's a
every game,
hot
but
box
something
underneath.
about season opener is
I'm
always
not
kind
sure
of
who
like
they're
a
yelling at, but
fire
somebody's in
starter, I
trouble.
think, for
Oh, it's
people.
Sprout of control.
Yeah, because you don't know what's going to
They headed back
happen.
to the penalty
You
box.
Yeah.
Nobody's
4
played
points
each
picked up by
other
Kassassin.
in
They're
a
their total
whole
Hmm.
lead
summer, and the
4.
teams are
And
usually
Springer
fairly
still standing tall in
different,
the penalty
and
box.
so
Yeah.
you have no idea what's going to
Beautiful
happen.
offense
Who's
being played.
who's Kassassin
Making
jamming
it
here,
real
right?
easy for Kassassin to get
Yes.
through. And
Yeah.
all them
Yeah,
Yes,
points.
that is
it definitely
Cassette.
Everyone
felt
pulling
like
blockers.
the Betties knew our jammers and
Back
had
out of the
jammed
penalty
against
box after
some of our folks for a long, long time. Sometimes they just like have your ticket,
against
but
Coop.
Kassassin, I
Bang
think,
3
was
and
coming in
Mayday.
first
Not a
season
team that you
and
want to have to contend with.
Hmm.
was a little bit more slippery
Another
to
4 points picked up by
figure out.
Kassassin by an easy
Yeah.
pass.
Yeah,
And finally,
And it was
and
Spring
Yeah.
really
gets the
Kassassin
line on
exciting.
their initial
experience.
pass.
She was
Kassassin
one
comes
of the
in,
best jammers
jumps,
the
and
league she
gets
came
out and
from.
around. Calls
So
it out
it's,
before
it doesn't
Spring Roll
surprise
can
me at all
do
that she came in
anything.
and was
That's
able to step
16
right up. She was really ready for
ginormous
that next
points.
level
And with
challenge.
that, the
But
High
you're right,
Rollers
she was
now
very
doubling the
stylistically
Breakneck
different,
Betty
and
score
so it was something that like we
22-21.
could not
But we've
prepare
got
for.
a lot of
We
games
had
left. And
prepared
here's one
all
game
like in
coming up.
the beginning of
Plenty
the
of points.
season to
It's
deal specifically with, and I'll call it out. Polly and Lurs were like our main
Yeah.
focal points. Was
Yeah.
like we need to understand how to beat these
massive
jammers, but
once
we
again
really didn't have a lot of
there for the
experience with
Breakneck
Tess.
Betties.
So, and it shows.
Yeah.
Nuga knockout.
Yeah.
This is the first time we've seen Nuga
It
knockout
is kind of
Yeah,
nice,
she's
like watching this. It's like we got so lucky
All
with like
jammers
the picks
engaged
that
that
we
pack.
got
They're
because
bouncing from
everyone is
inside to
such a
out
hard
and back
worker and
again.
they're so incredibly talented.
Ooh,
And it's like
toxic case. Oh,
having them
beautiful
made the
knockout.
season,
Excellently
it was such a big
read on the
difference having them
blocker.
on there.
Toxic
It's
case, of
like
course, has
first
been around a
opportunity,
while,
like I said
starting her
before, and it's
junior
like everyone
program.
really wants to put their best foot forward, and it's
Just a
like so
fabulous
obvious when
blocker.
watching this, like just how hard everyone wanted to work. So it was
Beautifully off
amazing.
the inside line. Excellent
Yeah, I
read.
think Assassin was still like commuting from Hood River for our
Hmm.
practices
And there is
for
a
a
cut
while
track
just to
and
be ready for
call
this.
on Nuga
And there's not a
knockout.
lot
So
of leagues
exactly
out
what
there
she
where
needed.
like for a home team somebody would
Tenacity
commute
out
that
though, and when I
far.
say they, I mean the
Hmm.
Breakneck
So it's
Betties.
really cool.
Tenacity gets out the other side with beautiful
Yeah, that's a pretty
offense.
good haul.
Last line of offense on this Sprout of
Yeah.
control, stopping any kind of
Yeah.
opposition.
Especially if there's any sort of traffic on the interstate.
Tenacity comes back in.
ice storm. Who knows?
Yeah.
Oh, and this was Ditch Witch's first game too, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ditch Witch had joined us the previous season, but was just like new on the team and hadn't played yet. So I think
And
this is
joined
where
late
Ditch
in the
Witch was
season.
taking like a primary role for the home
Mhm.
season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Bruce
It's
as
And I
really
well.
think,
cool to see.
yeah, Nuga Nugs is
Great.
playing.
Yeah.
Wow, that is just a cluster right there on that inside line. Everybody, ooh.
Oh,
Wow, look at that hit by tenacity. As a jammer, just that knock. Oh,
Oh, and they're going to
Yeah.
bring Nuga knockout back on.
It went to the box.
It looked like incidentally
That was a little big.
knockout went down, took out a blocker at the
Yeah.
ankles. Looks like
Yeah,
Nuga
so
were
we
going
had
with the
pulled
call,
up
but then
Ditch and Bruise the season
back on
prior,
track.
and we lost a
Mhm.
couple old timers, strong old
Mhm.
timers at the end of
Yeah.
at the end of the 18 season, and so at start of the 1920 season, we got to pull up Bruise and Ditch, and um, they just their trajectory was going
Mhm.
crazy. It would have been amazing to see how they ended up from May, because they just took
Yeah.
off like firecrackers.
All four blockers from both
Yeah.
teams are out on the track. Just engage right through the middle. Big opening.
Molly's so good at finding little holes. You could give her the worst offense in the world, and she'd still be able to find a way to get through.
Offense being played by the high rollers right there.
Is that Polly you're talking about?
Coop tore that
Yeah.
little pack apart for a brief moment, but they recovered.
yeah, she's
quite
got
nicely.
amazing acceleration.
Last line of defense and 4 more
Yeah.
points
yes.
put on the board.
Absolutely, and that's one of the things that makes it really hard to block Polly is that at the last second she will find an extra burst of speed that you weren't necessarily planning for. So you have to always be like one step ahead of like anticipating where she's going to put that into gear, because otherwise you're going to miss her.
Yep. It makes
She's also very
practices really hard.
twisty. Very twisty and turny and
Mhm.
down low
Yeah,
under
and
people's hips.
yeah, and her hips are like little like daggers that hit you.
Yeah.
For those of y'all who
If
haven't
you
played
don't
against
get
Molly.
low enough, it's so hard. Love that mall paw.
I know, it's good quality. It's so useful.
So just to share like some of the strategies, I feel like we are kind of rotating between either having like it really revolves on how many people you're going to send to go do offense. So we might just send one person to go help our jammer get through while the other 3 stay and do defense, or we might send 2, or we might just really shake things up and send like 3 people to go do offense and 1 stays to do defense alone. So like I think that's some of the strategy going on here is like kind of guessing how many we should do versus how many the other team might do of that mix of offense and defense. So you're kind of guessing like, is this person are they about to hit me or are they about to go hit my jammer? You like have to guess each time what the Betties might do and what we might do.
One of the kind of interesting things, though, I think about being league mates and going up against the same people over and over and over again is that one, you're both in the same league, so you're both kind of learning some similar strategies. So like we may have like some 2-2s or some 3-1s or something that might be the same, might be subtly different. But because you're seeing the same people, you also start to understand their patterns, and like you can look at the blockers and know, well, I know that person's always going to be primary defense. There's no way they're going to play offense, even if they look like they are, and so you can kind of anticipate in a way that sometimes like playing unknown teams or playing teams that you're not so familiar with, you might not necessarily know or recognize them as quickly.
Yeah. There's also the fact that like we kind of like are a melting pot and that a lot of us will play on like AOA or Woj together. So it's kind of like inevitable that a lot of the same strategies are going to come because all of us are also bringing like a trickle down situation where like a lot of us will bring some stuff that we learned from Wheels of Justice like to our home teams. So I don't know. We're a very big, but we're kind of like a melting pot league in the way that we do strategy.
Oh, I think we're going to get to send out a power line out here, which is when we break that cycle of the pods that we were talking about earlier, and just send out some strong players from both pods to try to shake things up. Sometimes it we're patterning too much. It's nice to put out different bodies to do something a little more unexpected. And sometimes it just they don't know how to skate well with each other. So people want to no spoilers.
I was like rolling the dice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that actually sort of led me into a question that I wanted to ask is, this was looks like a momentum timeout because things had been pretty close for a while, and then high rollers were really starting to get some momentum. So it looks like the Betties called a timeout to sort of break that. What do you all talk about in a timeout like that? Where are your heads at?
I mean, I think that we're just trying to take a deep breath here and be like, wow, we're actually doing a lot better than we thought we were going to do. And let's just keep going into every jam fresh 0-0. We're just going to all try our best and work hard in every jam and not like get too worried about what the score is, because we just wanted to do well in this game and we wanted to learn how to skate together better.
I felt like during our timeouts, we always would get like really specific, useful feedback from our coaches. Like Alicia Nizzet-Smith is one of our coaches for the team, and just having her give us like really critical, specific stuff right when we need it was really helpful. So, because like we were
Yeah,
on
and
a
Will
stay on a
should have been
roll,
to
so
a coaching position that season as well, and so we had both of them.
and roles.
Really great.
Yeah. And they're both very like conscious people. So like Coop said, like they're giving us very specific things to work on. And that's always super helpful. Like if we're letting like people slip by on the inside line more, or if we're not like covering, for whatever reason, they're perceptive. And so it's really like really, really nice to get feedback from them just because of how pointed and concise it can be.
Yeah.
One of the things I really loved that we had started doing just a season prior to this, and then we were doing it in this one as well, is that we had added to our coaching pool the wonderful and ever fabulous Mr. Wubbs, who would take live data for us, and then at like significant timeouts or at the halftime would literally come up to us and tell us very specifically, this pod is not successful against this jammer in this section of the track. So like be mindful of that. And it's just really cool to have that kind of instantaneous like pattern validation so that we can go into it saying, okay, hey, guess what? Polly's going to go to the out. And then watch it happen in real time, because we were like, oh yeah, Polly's going to go to the out because that's where we lost her every single time, right?
Wow, that is really specific.
Yeah. I like to get very granular with how I analyze like the patterns of the other teams. I want to know what their choices are. I want to know what they like to do, what they don't like to do.
That's really awesome. And I mean, I'm sure over time that makes a huge difference.
I like to think so. I think that some of the moments that we were having a lot more success in this game is where we're demonstrating our ability to skate really closely together. Ripley calls this snuggling, just fitting in our bodies in together however they can fit. And I don't think you see us do like a lot of using the other team in a plugging way here, although that's something we were training at the time. But we just feel very comfortable like being puzzle pieced in together while also being near the other team. What's very interesting about this is that actually it's a technique that's used by the high rollers in this game to great success. And I was noticing their preference, and I don't know if this was a conscious preference for you. You should tell me, because I like to know. If you were constantly trying to be a tight plugged tripod, specifically in the front whenever possible, and it seems that was your comfort zone.
No, I don't think so. I mean, we won't compromise our stance just to be in the front. Yeah.
I don't think that.
We try to be like,
if it's going to make us go all the way to the front line, we would
actually
keep in the back instead.
Compared to like previous seasons, compared to previous seasons, I definitely think this season we were very focused on being ready to do either one. and we had to make sure that we would do either every single jam. I think in previous seasons we were a lot more nervous in one position versus another. This season we were like, nah, take front and back, whatever, we'll take it. And like for me, for offense, I knew that like if y'all got clumped up, then I could sweep maybe more than one person at once. So that was nice.
Yeah. I will say that
Yeah.
I think we are a team that really likes being like close to other people. It's like I think something that we all really consciously appreciate just because we know that like more bodies in one space, regardless of whether they're on our team or the other team, is beneficial comparatively to like open space. So even if we weren't like making a conscious effort to try and be in like the front or the back, I think we did want to make sure that we weren't floating and creating unnecessary distance for, jammers to take advantage of.
As you're saying that your team was just running to the front to block, so that was really funny for me.
Yeah. I was gonna say also, I think in the past maybe we would get nervous about because the buddies sometimes will like go really fast, like oh we're gonna play fast derby, but like our jammers were really great when you guys would go fast. So like Assassin, Lurs, Polly were like go ahead, they run it. They enjoyed that, so
I think this might be the
didn't matter as much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow, Dame just like
yeah.
right on the whistle had great seal right there on that outside.
Speaking of, this is actually I think the jam where the Betties catch on to that and decide to start running it to make it go more quickly. And this next one, I think. Anywho, and yeah, it's very interesting to watch that dynamic break down when teams that both really loved to be touching each other all of a sudden are moving very, very quickly.
Yeah, it is kind of like a ebb and flow, I guess, when it comes to pacing. Obviously, like Derby used to be so fast, but we try to like not let it get out of hand by any means. But sometimes it is a little bit of a necessary, like get things going.
Mm-hmm.
Not always, but sometimes.
No one could touch them like Teflon. Comes in once again, finds an opening on that inside line. This time, Tenacity follows them through.
Yeah, so here we
I
are.
know that also in this game specifically, we were really trying to maintain, like, finding each other, like when stuff got scrambled. Like just now, there was a really good moment where we were like kind of like separated, going like one on one. It was kind of like tornado blocking from each of us, and tornado blocking is just like when you're kind of doing circles with the jammer and trying to jam for them. But I know that like specifically, like we were really trying to like maintain proximity with each other because that's obviously like pods work best if you're close with each other. But that was just another addition to that when I was watching.
I always like the influx of new skaters, and like I said, this last draft was a beautiful
Dame is just
draft for the
everywhere.
Rose City
It's so
Rollers. They've had
beautiful.
a lot of folks to pick from.
He
Well, I
doesn't
want to give
understand.
a shout. I want
I
to give
felt
a
like
shout out earlier. Earlier I mentioned Alicia Cochinas. I want to give a shout out in the chat. Rockamine also mentioned that Alicia's coaching outdoor practices at Lloyd Center next week. So folks should check that out. It'll be exciting. He's a great coach.
I think everybody was focused on offense and didn't even see Kassassin coming around. 4 easy points put on the board for Kassassin.
And here, speaking of Kassassin, Kassassin's really racking it up on this jam. Oh, nice spot there.
Yeah, well, and props to Pixie. Pixie's like sweeping some pretty good lines for her too.
Yeah.
Which y'all should enjoy
I know,
watching Pixie
Pixie's-
right now because you might not get to see Pixie the whole game.
Pixie's such a versatile player, though. It's like she's so good at offense, but she's also like incredibly like dynamic at defense. And I don't know, it's really nice to be out with her whenever I have the chance to play with her, which is rare but exciting nevertheless. But she's so like reliable.
Dakota Evans ends up stopping them. Forearm call is going to be called.
The Kassassin.
Oh, this one-on-one. I love it.
I feel like Dame has a very good awareness of just where that 20-foot mark is and how to take it all the way out there and then let it go before getting the penalty.
Yep.
She hit me on Thunder Dame, said, nope, I'm good. We're not doing this dance again. I'm tired. 3 points put up on that last pass. 15 points in total, bringing their grand total to 90 in this game so far.
Yeah, I think at this point in the game, like high rollers are starting to get that the point differential, and I think part of it was also like our jammers and our offense. Pixie and I were starting to kind of gel with our jammers a little bit more. We had to kind of work out some of the kinks at the beginning, but we like got into a groove for like what was working. I think that was part of what was starting to happen here.
Gets out as your lead jammer. They needed this desperately. Nuga knockout finally. Oh, excuse me.
I know that we spent a lot of time in this season working on once the jammer had gotten us a bit coming back quickly for offense for our jammer. You just saw us do that there.
Yeah.
Really no wasted time on the track. Like there's always something to be doing.
An infraction, 4 points being picked up by Ovarian Barbarian. I don't think. Oh, yep. I was going to say 2 points being picked up by Nuga Knockout. I don't think they realized they were the lead jammer. 96 points total for the high rollers, 50 for the breakneck Betties.
Have you all been watching a lot of Derby over this last year?
No.
No. I was just gonna say they just said like they thought maybe Nuga didn't know that their lead, and Nuga, I'm gonna guess, did know that she was lead, but was being told to run the jam because once we have this big of a differential, we're gonna just kind of like burn clock.
Yeah.
So yeah, if the jams go longer, then we're closer to the end of the game. So.
And when you have this big of a lead, it's a really good strategy. You just try to burn time because when you have a lead, all you have to do is hold on to it and get the seconds on that period clock to go down.
Yeah, and a shout out to Nuga because she's definitely a jammer that we always trusted to kind of like run a jam and stay clean. Like even when the jam goes really long and some jammers will get like frazzled and start making mistakes, Nuga would always just like kind of keep plugging away and eat that clock. She was very trustworthy in that way.
This is an interesting choice that is about to be made here because we only have 2 blockers on the track. We're actually going to play all O.
I don't think it's acceptable.
Oh, it's not. But like, hey, sometimes you try a thing. But like that's why you see their jammer get right through.
Was that Minstrel Psycho out there? I think she only got a few
That is
jams.
Psycho out there.
Yeah, she went out before that one.
So we
One
have
of the things
I love you so much.
Yeah.
One of the things we love very much about being on the Betties is never being afraid to try a really weird play, even if it seems like really counterintuitive or strange. And in fact, I think we learned this from Ripley, who's coaching us in this game. But to just try weird stuff sometimes, because you never know. Try a complicated play that you've never learned or never practiced. Just do it.
It's a legacy.
All right.
It's funny. I think Ripley and I were having some kind of psychic connection. We had like we made eyes at each other a couple times in this game because like we were both pregnant at the time. Like I think we each could just sense it. Like neither was like telling people yet. So like nobody else in the room knew, but like except me and Ripley probably knew about each other. And like we also both had babies previously at the same time, so we were both having like our second child at the same time again, and like we just knew. We could look and see. When I think the last game before everything shut down, Ripley and I both coached with rather large baby bumps. We got to bump bellies. It was fun.
Pictures were so cute.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, honestly, the pandemic was really well scheduled for me and Ripley because then, like, we had to stop skating and all of you had to stop skating, and yeah, it was great.
Kind of the worst timing for me. I was finally back on skates, and then everything shut down.
Toxic Cases, Bridge and everything. They finally get close enough together. Looks like Pixie is going to come up and try to help Kassassin out. Only
such a pretty tripod, both sides. Very pretty.
Recycled around and continue to hold on. Ovarian Barbarian, on the other hand, made short work of that high roller as well. Picks up 4 points.
Sometimes by the time you finally go up and sweep, your jammer's real tired. So took a second there.
Remember the last game before the shutdown where we played roller derby and then we didn't high five because we thought we would infect each other?
Yeah.
Oh, it's hilarious.
Yeah. Meanwhile, it was actually all the like really heavy breathing that was the problem.
And
Yeah.
touching and like being in each other's face. How close we are touching each other.
Yeah.
We did a fundraiser bout and wonderful
Yeah,
person.
I think
definitely.
this next one
Fantastic jammer. Boy, if you're
But I
looking
is
can't
the
wait to do it again.
someone who's incredible on your team, get
Yeah.
Casassin on your team.
Yeah, I think this is the jam wherein there's this moment where we think that the green jammer had cut, so there's going to be an official review called. I'm only calling it out because it's about to happen. It's this next little entry and exit right here. Watch the entry. We totally thought that it was a cut. We watched this thing at 1 and like a quarter speed, like half speed, a quarter speed, and it was not a cut. So I will say, like, kudos to the ref crew for having eyes that were like faster than I could even fathom. But they made a great no call there.
I mean, they do
Okay.
get the advantage of like the front row seat, like they're standing like right there. So
Mhm. Yes, they do. But they're still just really, really phenomenal. There are so many moments in this game where I'm like, yeah, we've got like some of the best refing and officiating in the world.
Yeah, it's unreal. I could never do that job.
So I've actually I refereed an entire Rose City home season quite a few years back. Refereeing like folks like these jammers, like Ovarian Barbarian and like Lurs and Polly, they just move like inappropriately fast, and so like to follow them and see what's happening is really hard as an official. I don't know if I could have still been an official now that people have gotten so fast and so good. Yeah.
Yeah, it is like funny, like watching it now, you're like, oh my God, we were all in like tip top shape. Like we were both really, it's nice to see, but it is funny, like thinking that like this is the level that we were playing at before everything
Yeah.
happened.
I get exhausted just thinking about how we ever, get back up to that. It's just tiring to think about.
We'll see there. The outdoor practice at Lloyd Center. There's your opportunity to.
Yeah, that's not it. I'm just saying it. Oh man, I don't know.
I will say that I
I
was
just,
able to watch one that Mush was putting on,
yeah.
and Mush did a fantastic job. And we've only got I've been working at Lloyd Center, and people have been like very complimentary about the whole thing, especially the practices that are being put on. And it's so cool, like being next to someone who's like that skilled and just like being able to like take it all in, soak it all in. It's really nice.
Yeah, that's a really cool opportunity that exists, being able to go there to Lloyd Center. I feel like a lot of other cities don't have something like that for people to be able to just get out there and get some exercise and see people at a distance. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a really
It was a
great
long time
space
out.
there. I mean, because
Well, it's an official review because of that cut,
That's why.
non-cut.
Yeah.
That's why.
it's actually a double official review because Betties did an official review, and then the High Rollers did an official review. So both
Yeah,
teams.
and I think
I remember that.
Is it the end of the half?
I can't. Yes, I can't quite see the time, but I'm gonna say like you like because it's close to the half and you like lose your official review. High Rollers probably just did it because why not?
Yeah.
I think
The time's gonna run out, the read's gonna go away, and we're gonna be at halftime.
So with a minute 44, it's time to use those official reviews. Why not? It's always good to save your.
Thanks, King.
Oh no, I just remember this one now. Tenacity backblocked me, so I was like, let's do a review, and the review was gonna go away. So yeah.
Take a break. You can use them as a timeout. Those official reviews.
Oh, was that one upheld? I thought the penalties were overturned.
Both were
Yeah.
overturned.
Yeah, they didn't see it. Yeah.
Good on y'all for like remembering some of that stuff. I feel like I don't know if y'all are the same way. I will go into a game and it's like my mind's there, but then I think about it later and I'm like, and then I like have to like look at the footage because I like feel like I black out or something when I'm like playing it slowly and look up and the clock's like 6 minutes. I'm like, what? Where did the time go?
Yeah, Jamnesia is real.
Oh, Holly, that was a very blatant track cut.
Sometimes you can't
Sometimes you
tell
just
if
move too
it's a jam or
fast.
Guess what? We're going full 2 minutes.
really pretty clear.
Yeah,
Oh man,
Springroll
Springhall
is
is just
looking into
doing
the
so
buttons
good
of
in
his
this
phone.
game.
Would you
Warms
get
my
back
heart.
and put that cap back on your head, youngster?
Springroll was in my 101 program.
Oh,
Oh,
I don't
Yeah,
get
Springle
credit.
moved up
man.
very
Springroll goes
fast.
through, but
yeah.
Philistine put a humongous hit.
Their intuition as a
Springroll
jammer
out of it,
is
but man, there
really
was
something that I
a
don't
lot of
see very
texture there.
often. With somebody to just
Colorado
naturally have
Cracker
that
comes
much
in very hot,
just
very
raw
quick, and gets
intuition for
through
where to go and
their
what to do.
initial pass. No problem.
I remember being extremely impressed by Springroll during this game,
Springroll tries
for
to break
sure.
his
Mm.
defense.
Mhm.
Cracker has no part of it. Glides through backwards on one skate, picks up 4 points, and is through at the top of the apex. Springroll, on
So
the
That's
other
a
hand,
big
is suffering
that's a
behind a
big cuddle
couple
pile
limits.
right there. No
Decides
one's
to go
moving out
in,
of that.
play some
Yeah.
defense.
These two
And now we're
teams who
skating
love a cuddle
backwards.
pile, like we're just naturally going to all gravitate together. I think I wrote on my notes like
And
just
now
a
they
Mhm.
lot
hug
of
each
scrum,
other and make fun. So
a lot of
Springroll's
just
like, okay,
scrum
all
the
right,
whole
all right, we'll skate. I think this is maybe just a good opportunity.
I like that term,
Break.
cuddle pile.
Cracker goes
Yeah.
through nicely.
Thank you. I
5
just made
4
it up right
points
now.
being put
I
in the
don't know
air
if
by the
someone already
ref.
did, but
So,
We like to call it
benefiting
fluggling.
from this
It's like
Mhm.
snuggling and flugging at the same
continued roll.
time. Nice
And
sprout.
I just want
Good.
to point out how, like, at Rose City, all the teams can do these cuddle piles and get like so close and tight compared to other leagues. I think a huge part of it is like everyone in our league is like doing CrossFit and cross training and just like getting like beefy and strong. And so when you're all in there really tight and it's like this competition of who can push who physically the most, all the
Mhm.
squats that you did, they pay off. And so I think it's a really cool part about Rose City that we have strength and speed from that.
All right, so that is halftime. 67-117, so 50-point differential. What are your thoughts? What were you thinking going in to the locker room, or not so much, or whatever, whatever space? What was your focus going in there?
Well, we are about to
Uh,
get staff feedback from Wubbs. You could see him walking over to tell us, these are the patterns that I'm seeing, and then just taking that stats data and applying it to our various pods, what they specifically each need to work on, what our jammers need to work on from those stats, and really just applying it.
And what
yeah,
about for
I
the
would
high rollers?
agree.
Yeah, I think for
Um,
the high rollers, I remember going into halftime and Rolls and Alicia had really, like I said earlier, they give really specific feedback. And I think I
mhm.
remember part of it was that like the core things that we were doing were working in the majority of the jams. We just have like a few jams where things fell apart and we needed to figure out how to rein it in during those jams. And that's when the Betties had racked up a lot of points, was in like this specific jams that we needed to like keep it together a little better for the next half if we were
Yeah.
gonna keep our lead, that we had to like hold those pieces, because any team, once it starts to unravel, a lot of things can happen and a big lead can disappear really quickly. So
Yeah. We also want to make sure that we were like talking about the good things that we were doing. So if there was like really like helpful consistencies that we were like maintaining during during our jams, it's like we wanted to make sure that we like talked about that, like especially for like different pods, like what people were doing really well and like what to keep doing and focusing on and looking for. Obviously, it's always good to like talk about things that we need to improve on. But also, when it comes to a lead like this, it's also really important to maintain a lot of positivity and like just focus on the good things as well.
I think that some of the changes that you're going to see from the Betties in the second half is also recognizing, okay, well, we're at a really huge deficit. So are there ways that we can employ who we have? Like, even though, like, yes, in general, like T's jamming, and yes, in general, Dame is a blocker in these games, but also figuring out, okay, but how can we then be competitive still and allow people to have some success in their more primary positions. Because I think that sometimes it's hard to overstate what a mental toll jamming can take on you, and if you're not in the right space for it, it can be kind of a spiral effect. So finding the moments of being able to be successful so that you don't start that spiral.
All right. Well, great. Thank you all so much. We are going to take a 5-minute break for us to recharge water bottles or whatever your beverage of choice is. And for anybody in the chat, feel free to drop some questions in. And when we come back, we'll take a look and answer them and get back to the second half. Thank you all so much. All right. Welcome back. If you are just joining in now, we're taking a look back at the Rose City Rollers 2020 home team season opener with the High Rollers versus the Breakneck Betties. I am joined by Bang, Coop, and Maye of the High Rollers and Leafland Sprout from the Betties. The half ended at a score of 67-117 in favor of the High Rollers. So, coming back, to start the second half for the High Rollers, did you know that Lurs Lemon was not going to be coming back for the second half? Or were you sort of kind of still hoping that Lurs would be able to make it back in?
Yeah, I think there was an injury issue, and so at halftime we had to kind of figure out what to do without Lurs for the second half. She had sustained some injuries, I think, in her Wheels of Justice stuff, and so for our team, we want to take care of our skaters and make sure they can go and play at a world-class level. So we weren't going to kind of have her just play through the injury and risk, her knee for, just our game. And so we felt like our other jammers could step up and that we were solid and we were ready for it. So we went ahead and made adjustments so that we would not have Lurs for the second half.
Yeah, and it certainly was disappointing. Obviously, Lurs is a really strong jammer. Lurs is someone who is very helpful and who is obviously very talented. So it was something that we weren't super excited about. But like Coop said, it's we never want to risk anyone's safety, obviously.
Yeah, and Crimson was having an amazing game. Nuga was doing great, and then we also did have. Crimson was brand new to our team, and so we knew if anything else happened, we'd be ready to put Crimson in there if we needed to as well.
All right, awesome. And then Sprout, you ended the first half with 4 penalties. So you're not in a good position going into the second half. What are you doing to change your play style to make sure that you don't foul out before the end?
Well, that was a first for me, going into a half with 4 penalties. And I think that is the highest penalty count on my whole team, which is also a first for me. We're not exactly known for playing penalty-free games. So for me, it was just okay, I just need to calm my play style down one notch. And, I know what penalties I'm getting. I know what's causing them to happen. So it's just sort of stepping that back and making sure I'm keeping that in check.
All right. Well, cool. Thank you. And let's get back to the action.
We're going to start this off with a power line again. When you're down by that much, you kind of want to come out swinging.
Y'all have such a good power line, though. Y'all send out the big guns.
Well, as I was saying, in this half, sometimes our power line got to include tenacity as a blocker, so that it makes a difference having their voice on the track again.
Well, spoiler alert, the power line works pretty well for this one.
Yeah, and I gotta say, this one is a beautiful one for Carl. I hope that Carl watches this 1,000 times and just feels so good.
Yeah, she has a really good game. I also want to give a shout out to Susan B, who has an amazing game. This game is her first game where she really got to play regularly all the way through, between being new on the team and ankle breaks and ankle surgeries and the baby. she hadn't really gotten a chance to just like be in regular rotation. She stepped right up. She's ready. She looks like she's been playing with us regularly for as many years as she's been on the team. My favorite
She's
thing
a
that
great person.
Oh,
I was just
my
gonna say
favorite
Bees are really
talk about her is that her offense and then her switch back to defense. Like you can't ask for a better offensive player than to know when to stop playing offense and join the D.
Yeah, I was gonna say Bee just has really good sportsmanship, so she's just a really good person to play against, and I'm really gonna miss her. I heard she's moving away, so
Yeah.
yeah, it's really sad. She's such a great person to have at Rose City.
Yeah, so smart, such an even keel on presence on the track. I love that.
Nice job, Coop.
My butt was just big enough.
I mean, that was, that was the exact same lane that Carl had taken the previous time around. So you definitely were learning from the previous go around.
What? Carl likes the inside?
Thank you. One of my folks here on the feed, it's that hair that was throwing me off and not seeing it. Well, here we go. Nice little.
She really likes the outside.
I think this was a fun jam for me because I got to do defense for a little while. That was fun.
So far for the breakneck Betties and for up to 8 is a great way for them to start out. They were struggling at the end of that first half. Carl's in, trying to fight their way through right now.
Oh, things got awkward. But Maye.
May's like, we're throwing down. Oh gosh, yeah, I was still pivoting at this point. That hasn't happened in a while. It's been a minute since I've been a pivot.
Yeah, well, our pod had actually gone through a big change. We had Alicia leading our pod, and so this season was like, bang, you were really stepping up to be our leader for our pod, and it was really cool. The other pod had Sprocker leave, and so Dakota was stepping up in a big way too, and that was, and Pixie, like, to be leaders for our pod, that was really cool to see.
Sprocker and Rolls.
Yeah. I was able to, it was kind of funny. I hadn't been a brace, really. Like, it's kind of like a tendency of mine because I was a brace all throughout juniors. But it was kind of funny, like, this season I was able to, like, get back to my roots of being a brace again. And it was kind of like puzzle pieces locking into place. Not that I don't like being a butt in the wall, but it was kind of funny how, like, that kind of changed things.
Back to your roots.
Yeah.
Yeah, I seem to recall you being a very deadly brace for the droids.
It was just because I was so big. Yeah, you know, when you're standing over 6 foot on skates when you're a junior, it's a little bit difficult to, like, not be kind of effective.
True, very, very true.
Yeah. But yeah, I did love it.
Dang, I remember when you were a junior walking into the hangar and seeing you out on the track playing, and I think I turned to somebody and was like, who's letting that adult play with those kids? I was like worried. I was concerned. I was like, or is there like another adult team I don't know about? It's very concerning to me.
It is, yeah. I think that it made a difference being able to play with people who were my size, needless to say. Yeah.
Really sweet coordinated offense from two sides there. Mom caught the outside butt there and then threaded through. Really nice. Also, playing offense for OB is like the dreamiest thing ever because she will always take the offense. Always.
Yeah, I remember around this point in the game, we started to get nervous. Like, we had that lead at the half, and now it just felt like things were getting, like, chaotic, and we weren't playing our game, and I started to get a little worried about now, I think. I mean, a
It's
lot
kind
of
of
people going in and out
easy.
of the penalty box.
Yeah,
I
it's
agree.
kind of easy sometimes to like kind of feed into this chaos that's going on in your head when you're playing. And obviously, like,
Yeah.
you know, we were fine, but sometimes it's like you got to take a second to like, get back to that place where you like understand that you're fine.
Leah just had the most amazing catch and like recycle there. This is also one of her first games is getting to like start to play more regularly instead of just sort of walker, and she just looks amazing. Hmm. Such a fun growth journey for both her and Fira, I think, in this game and in this season. And I know that Fira is working hella hard off skates during this time, so I hope y'all are ready for that when we come back. Soon.
No.
We're not ready for anything. That's it.
I know that's what I'm saying. Fira's us all.
Yeah.
She's running voluntarily. Like no one's chasing her. She's just running all on her own.
She's running without me. Oh, that's funny.
So we got a question from one of the viewers. What do you, as you think about your home team careers, what is your favorite or most memorable game and why?
I forget all of the games I've ever played.
Betty's game.
I've never lost a Betty's game. That's true. I think I'm the only Betty who can say that.
For me, it was the first time that we brought home a championship medal, 2018 against GNR. And I remember treating that game the same way that I remember treating this game, which is just like every single jam, we're going to go out there and we're going to try to do our very best. And I'm not going to look at the scoreboard. And we're just going to try to like take it jam by jam. And I remember like looking at the scoreboard at some point in that game and being like, huh, okay, well, maybe. And then it just ended at some point, and I like none of the people on the track knew that that was the end of the game. We were just ready to like keep going, keep focusing. We're just going to do the thing, and that was really great.
It's kind of hard for me to decide. Like, I haven't had as many seasons on high rollers as obviously my pod mates have. I think honestly, the game that I am so thankful for and that I hold on to a lot is the first game I ever played with high rollers. Just because it was like I have been dreaming about being on a home team. You know, since I was a junior, it was like it felt like a far-fetched thing, but it was like something I really wanted at some point. So like having the opportunity to be on the high rollers was like such an incredible honor. And also like I played with Alicia Nisbet Smith as my primary defense partner the first season I was on, and it was like the opportunity to play with Alicia was like it kind of changed everything for me. Like she took me under her wing, and it was like such a nice experience to be with her, and like being able to play with someone like that was like the junior in me. My God, you know, my wildest dreams are coming true. So like that whole experience was like really, really. I hold it close to my heart.
We're coming up on my favorite Pounds moment of this game. So Poundsy, if you're watching, this one's for you. You do a really beautiful job of threading offense straight up the middle, and I'm so proud. Right up
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Nice. Good offense.
Sneaky. You don't know where she was going to go, and then all of a sudden there she is. My favorite kind of offense is the kind you don't see coming.
Yeah, that was really nice. There was a great hole just whoop, right there.
Mhm.
We were running. You're going.
Were you going
Run some more
breakneck?
clock.
Steve Nasty Hard. I'm not allowed to finish it.
drinking ale, we've got them both on hand, or you can pick them up in your local grocery store. I got some in my fridge right now. Danger and Polywana Cracker. Out on the track.
Wow.
There is a cut, and that is going to be on Polywana Cracker. That's not good. But Danger Potato also picked up a cut track.
Double jammer pounding. That's always a fun way to start.
That's a nice little lose-lose for everybody, because then I'm also usually on the track going, all right, 2 minutes equal 2 minutes.
Yes.
Oh no. Second cut.
Yeah.
Another thing that I remember like working on really specifically was like line covers. Like we were sorry about my cat. I was just watching the like movement, the pod movement that was happening right now between Dakota Ditch and Pixie, and it was like we were trying to be so specific about landing on the line, because it's in this league it's so full of jammers who are so good on their toe stops that you can't really afford to like not be really sufficient with like line covers. So it was just like nice watching this pod, and like just the movement that they were doing was so awesome.
The other thing happening here is us eating up a power jam. We had practiced that a ton, and we only have 2 blockers on the track, and they did exactly as we had practiced, just to eat up the time while our jammer's in the box.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is Diana Hitch out there with Dakota, and that was we just drafted her. We won the draft so hardcore last year. And
The combo, like Hitch and Dakota together, is terrifying.
Yeah, that's true.
You're
I
one
was
of
so
my
excited
favorites,
when like
for sure. Y'all should keep them together.
no, I like having Hitch in my pod. Selfishly, Hitch is good anywhere, but when I was able to start working with Hitch, I was like, this is so exciting.
She's very tough to work with, yeah, for sure.
It's so funny how particular everybody is about their pods, because like we had all this stuff to sort out our pods for this game, and then as soon as the game was over, I pulled the people aside and was like, "So I'm done for the season. I'm pregnant, so the pods will have to switch again."
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
gotta switch them again. So then it was like, Mayday had to step up and start doing some serious offense, which I had been doing. So that was really cool to see Mayday just be like, "All right, I'm doing it." And
it was kind of funny. I remember like Coop was rather ominously like, "Come here, come sit on the bench with me while we like talk things out." And I was like, "What is going on?" Coop was like, "Well, I'm leaving." And
I think
and then it turned out to be like, I only missed like
and then we were
2 games.
happy because we were having a baby. So all we did was feel sorry.
Right.
No, we were happy for you.
Yeah.
And look, you got yourself a little cutie that's been keeping you busy this whole time when everybody else poured off.
Not little. He's enormous. He's in like the 99th percentile. I have a gigantic baby. He's huge. I can't even carry him around. Like if I want to get in shape, I should probably start carrying my baby around more. But right now, I just dump him on the floor. He's so heavy.
That's awesome. Get a little wheelbarrow for him.
So Bang, what is the name of your feline friend?
Oh gosh. Okay, so you've probably seen both of them. I have 2 twins. My family has 2 twins from Pensacola. Came here after the hurricanes, and one of them is named Cricket. Probably the one who's y'all seen the most, and the other one is named Bean. One of them is sitting like right here next to me. They're cute, but they like Zoom more than anybody I know. They love being on calls. Their favorite pastime.
Can you tell them apart?
I can't tell them apart. Cricket's like really tiny. She's like a little thing, and then Bean is not. Bean is like a little bear cub, so it's pretty easy to tell them apart.
Wow, what great lateral movement by Polywana Cracker. They have really upped their game in the last.
So there was a lot of chaos just there in the jam, but I wanted to just point out, like, I think one of the things we were trying really hard in this game was to like bring it back together amid the chaos. Anytime any team plays the Betties, you have to like find yourself amid a lot of chaos. So the wall just then was like really good at like just moving around the Buzzy Bees, and they found each other, made that tripod. It was nice.
Whereas our rule is usually try to create as much chaos as possible. That's
Right.
freaking.
Cracker comes in turn number 2, and High Rollers right now looking to just
Oh, we had the power wall out.
try to get out on their own accord.
I didn't even notice.
Doing a little nice tap and finally
I think we did, yeah.
Me. Yeah, me, Dakota, Pixie, and Hitcha.
You all started this down 2 blockers, so
That's right.
that may have been
That's
why.
right.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I'm not sure at what point, but Pixie, I think, fouled out of this game. So it might be around now that Pixie's out, and now we'd readjust the pods.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, me and Bruce were just setting up a 2-wall on Dame because you need 2 people to hold back Dame when she's blocking.
Yeah.
Cruz just posted us on a story on Instagram. Yeah, I'm hip with the kids. I know them. Hi, Bruce. If you're watching, hello. We miss you.
Yeah, Bruce, I miss you so much. You have no idea how much I miss blocking with you.
Hope you're not freezing up there in Chicago.
Yeah, Bruce moved away, so
Bruce coming back though.
Oh,
Yeah. As soon as Bruce achieves their dreams, they're coming back.
Yeah.
Right to my pod.
Nope.
Carl comes in, hits that pack.
Such a pretty clear.
Beyond awesome offense. Just looped around, stuck everybody to right where they were, and left that opening on the outside as wide as could be. Carl's back around, ready to play some more. Here comes beyond Thunderdame.
I agree. That's how this
dang.
goes.
I'm getting to block with Bang right there. That's always nice.
I know.
Yeah, I think we also like mixed it up occasionally. We're like, they all, they know Coop's coming into O, so we just like have Maye do O instead.
I know. Our pod was sturdy, so it was like you put anybody, hardy stock. You put anybody in defensive position, we could hold our place.
Yeah.
But they quickly recycle and reclaim all, but Nuga Knockout found a way through. That's 4 more points. 8 points total in that jam.
Coop, I miss seeing you on defense. That was so good.
I wanted to come and do like a whole season of defense. That actually was one of my goals for this season. And then instead I did 1 game of offense and then made a baby. So maybe there's a future for defense for me someday. We'll see.
Next season.
Exactly.
Whatever that
Yeah,
happens.
do you think getting into the hangar is going to be like getting into Hawaii, where you have to show negative results to a COVID test before you're allowed admittance within the last 72 hours? Wouldn't that be awesome?
I know
we could have
I'll go play in Hawaii. I know a Denver skater who just went to Australia or New Zealand and like had to just stay in a hotel for the full 2 weeks before they could like emerge into the community, like literally stay inside that one, hotel room for 2 weeks.
Wow.
So we could all do that, and then we could all play derby in New Zealand or Australia or something, maybe.
It's a turn jammer. It's like this is your one time to watch Sprout jam in this one.
Yeah, somebody asked if I jammed a bunch in this game. I think it's just this time.
there you go.
All my head can handle.
Oh, you just gave a little wave to the crowd there, so clearly everybody's excited about
that. Everybody loves to see Sprout jam.
Yeah, especially the other teams.
I think what's so amusing about when you jam is that you have these great facial expressions where you're just so put out by it, but you keep passing people, so nobody feels sorry for you. You just keep going around, and you're like, oh, hilarious.
Or
Uh,
the fun part about games is actually that you really never want to let a star pass happen, because in that situation, you had a star pass happen and now you have to deal with T as a blocker. Well, in this
Mhm.
lineup, if you pass the star, you're passing it to Dame, which you also don't want. Like, so, like, in no situation is the star pass going to be good for the high rollers.
so we played that game a little later on in the season after this game because we got Brute back on the team, and she
Mhm.
took the cap. And so as soon as that got passed, if it did, then the other team just called it off right away.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I love having a pivot like that where you're like, yeah, you want to pass it? Sure, go for it.
Yeah, yeah, that'll get it done real fast. One way or the other, right?
I was looking at the stats sheet for this game, and the Betties had like actually quite a few people jam, more
Mm-hmm.
than kind of mixed it up quite a bit. I don't know if it
Well,
was
we were
just second half here. And,
yeah, we had to use the full depth of who we had because we had lost Gal, of course, and Ivy both. So and Cadaver as well. My goodness, yeah, we had lost three of our main
Mhm.
jammers. So even our up and coming jammers, we were like, we've got to do a full cycle of everybody.
oh,
Yeah,
there's
that
spring
was
roll
cool.
again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Spring Roll had a really great game here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, Tenacity only jammed twice in the second half.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing a lot more defense then.
Yes, yeah, and I think that part of that was like we were talking about, like that we're on a losing trajectory anyway, so we might as well like make it really competitive and make it strong. And jamming is demoralizing, especially if you're not having much success with it. So helping to get people back into the game by letting them do what they do well can be affect not only them but also the other players on the team.
I just want to shout out for this pod here for the high rollers.
Mm.
They're just taking spring roll back over and over and over. It's a real
Yeah.
that's
Hitcha.
Dakota Hitcha. Their recycling ability is pretty
Yeah.
tremendous. Pixie, yep. Oh, Pixie hasn't fouled out yet. There's Pixie.
I think that was towards the end. I don't know that we
Very
went too
end.
long without Pixie. Yeah.
Okay.
I could be wrong.
Yeah,
I don't remember going too
Maybe
long without Pixie.
it was more something I was worrying about the whole second half. Like as a captain, like how are we going to switch this up? Because she's going to go because she was pretty high on penalties like the whole game. So
Me and Bruce, classic two wall. We're
yeah.
doing a lot of two walls this season. We were trying really hard to like make sure that we weren't sticking consistently to like one or two plays, like not a three wall with one D. We were trying really hard to like make sure
Oh.
Oh,
that was a bad squid. That was a bad squid. That was pretty far from the line.
On travel team way back when we first started discussing like squids and don't do it, I think I suggested we have like a hat that looks like a squid that if you do it too much you have to wear it like to shame you.
Oh, that'd be bad. I would wear that every single day I played roller derby. That'd be part of my uniform.
so for any viewers who may not know, what exactly is a squid outside of a
Oh
cephalopod?
yeah.
So,
Squid is when you're
So
on the line, and instead of getting there flat, that is to say, like with your shoulders and hips squared up, you really just throw your butt at the line and hope that it does something good. Usually,
it it just happens because um, you don't have enough time. So
yeah.
if you have enough time, the squid turns into a squared up stance. But that's the
yeah,
interim part when you don't have enough
it's
time
like
and
a
you're not confident, basically.
well,
yeah Hail
and back in
Mary
the day,
last resort.
a squid would maybe work, but our jammers have just gotten like there's so much more athleticism in this sport. The jammers have figured out how to like spin and throw their hips like up and over and around your butt or go under you or something. You know, they like know how to get around it quite easily now. So
Thanks, Scald Eagle.
yeah. It's real good. Back in the day, you just throw your butt out there, and the jammer just runs straight towards your butt and fall over. It was really
or just
great move.
peers right over your butt.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you, as a short person,
But if you have your shoulder in place, then they can't get over your shoulder on the line.
for a really short person, when you do that, I like to say that the jammer does that like sliding across the car, the hood of the car, because I
Oh
found
yeah.
that me a lot. So I'm short enough that they can just slide right across me, like in the hood of a car. If I do that on the line.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, if they hit you on the side when you're squidding, your butt is your body's sideways. So if they hit you full on,
Yeah.
it's not a back block. It's not a penalty at all. But if you had squared up, then they hit you like that, it's going to be a back block, or they won't get through.
Yeah.
It's hard to maintain position when someone clocks you right in like all the legal territory you possibly have on your side. I mean, it's a difficult task.
I mean, we're all blockers here doing the commentary. I feel like we should do a lot more complaining about jammers for sure.
I think we shouldn't, because they're going to get mad at us when we're off. I'm going to get texts from like Molly and Lurs and everyone. They're going to be like, hey, actually, we work really hard.
I like to say that a blocker's game is mostly success with a little bit of failure when you lose somebody. A jammer is the opposite. They are mostly failure with the momentary successes of getting out. They've got a hard job.
And look at that, Ovarian Barbarian gets through the lead jammer.
Yeah, I've certainly noticed that from my viewpoint as an announcer, especially towards the end of the game, watching some of the jammers, they get caught into a tripod, and you can just see like their soul just draining as they just
That's my favorite look. Means I'm doing my job.
Love a soul drained face.
Assassin just getting worked over, and it almost looked like a cut. Tenacity did a great job running back. Now Tenacity is the last.
I don't.
Defense.
There's a.
Uh-oh, everybody's leaving the track.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
Congratulations,
I was like trying to direct a plane there or something. I was like, I'm back. Please, I'm back. You never realize how much you gesture until you like watch yourself play back. I didn't realize I was so animated until I like started watching footage of myself.
We're getting into some end game strategy here, wherein the high rollers very smartly again go back to that bread and butter of like burn the time down, because at that point time is your enemy, because you're up by so many points that all you need to do is get that clock to say 0. And so at this point in this next round, they're actually going to give up several points, knowing that it doesn't matter, because again, your ultimate goal is to squeeze that clock down.
Yeah, it's a 30-point game with 5 minutes left, so it's not out of reach by any stretch of the imagination at this point.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Sometimes you know, with other sports, obviously there's a point differential where you just know for certain that there's no way that they'll be able to come back. Roller derby is just, it's not that kind of game. You never know, you know, the shortest amount of time can lead to the most amount of points. It's a strange phenomenon, but yeah. I know that at this point we certainly weren't feeling safe by any means. I don't know that like safe is a word that we would use throughout the entirety of the game at all, because you never want to underestimate, you know, the other people in your league, obviously. But yeah, it was a little nerve-wracking.
Well, look at the track. I mean, we have the box completely full. We're only getting to put a couple blockers on the track, and we're only down by 30. This is how the Betties win like so many games. If the other team gets frazzled, just like starts to fall apart, and then you know you make that big comeback.
We're a third half team, I like to say. We'll beat them in the third half.
Spring roll gets out. Susan B. Animosities.
There's the
Dakota taking spring roll back. Only 2 blockers on the track, but holding spring roll just enough.
Dakota Evans
Mhm.
is out of, excuse me, Dakota Evans. Spring Roll is
Yeah.
out on the initial pass.
Now we got May Day back on the track. They
Mhm.
just gotta hold spring roll and eat the clock. And we had spent a significant amount of time practicing for power jams against us. So
That's going to put
Mhm.
and for like being down blockers.
Jammer,
Yeah.
Roll, and Polly Wanna Cracker are both
Power jams are difficult, and like when you're really down on people, it's difficult. It's always something we try to like work on because it's really, there's not really a good, super good way to like maintain stability when that stuff is happening. But like if you can get close, if you can figure it out a little bit,
Yeah.
give yourself some semblance of like hope.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And see, we
Trying to
still
finish
didn't empty the box there.
power lineup with OB
Mhm.
now.
Yeah, we were talking about it up here. It didn't look like they had given Spring Roll all of their points. So right now we've got a score of 187 to 159. 4 minutes left in this
Well, I got to
Yes,
say,
they-
it's been really exciting watching this because I've not really watched much roller derby because it's been so sad for me. I kind of had to just not look at it. But I think
Yeah.
I'm going to be really, really excited when it comes back.
Yeah. I mean, you get so much out of the sport, not just like the sport itself, but it's like you get the teammates and you get the support and you get, that feeling of like athleticism and, just like kind of confidence. And so like it is like watching this, it's like, you kind of get reminded of like all the stuff that was kind of taken away from you for a minute. Because the sport is like so much more than just roller derby. It's like so fulfilling, I think, personally. So watching this again is just like a really good reminder about like what, all the good things that we're going to come back to, I think, when like all this is over.
Yeah, and just like a whole newfound appreciation for what we had. Like, I can't believe we got amazing. I've never, I've played since 2012, the beginning of 12, and I never had a break this long to really realize, what I had. Like,
Yeah, I took a 10-month break when I had my first baby, and I remember coming back and just having like a completely different attitude about roller derby. I think before I had gotten to the point in my career where I was like just a jerkhole. I was just not nice to be around, and I was like bitter and tired. And I took that 10 months off, and when I came back, that's when I joined the high rollers, and I just wanted to like play derby and be with teammates on the track that I care about, and just like savor every moment, And so like I'm hoping everybody else when they come back get to feel that way too. That it's like it's a whole new start, and you can shape roller derby however it is that you would like really hope or dream that it could be for you in your life differently than it might have been before. So.
yeah, and I kind of feel guilty for not having more fun. Like I had a lot of fun, but man, like every part of it is so fun. Every
Yeah.
minute of it.
There's this feeling of just like rolling out on the track with your teammates right next to you at the end of a really hard jam where you like did good and pulled it out, and you just look at your teammates and it's the highest of high. It just feels so good to be there next to each other.
Mhm. I know, you're like, you're the best people in the whole entire world. And I would rather, I wouldn't want to do this with anyone else. I wouldn't want to go through that jam with any other person except for you guys.
Right?
That's awesome.
Until
Nice
they
job,
change your
Coop.
pod, and you have to take a minute, and then you feel the same way about your new pod.
Mhm.
Oh, Mayday.
Every team you're on is the best team. Every pod you're in is the best pod.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like there's not a bad pod. It's just your knowledge of, if you spent more time with one group or some people rather than others, then you're just not used to it. But it takes us some time, and then you're right there because everybody's an amazing player, amazing skater.
Mhm.
Is it weird that like after all this time watching this just makes me want to go right back to the same exact pod? It'll be like
No.
an entire year. We could definitely switch things up, but like,
Yeah.
I look at it, I'm like, I don't want to be on a
Slight
track with
bruising
you
on
guys
the
again.
Our pod last year was called a Peacock Pod, or my
Yeah.
first season on High Rollers. We're gonna have to figure that out again.
What was the other pod called? They didn't have a name for a little while.
The Black Pod.
Goth Pod. It was Goth Pod. Yeah, Goth
Goth Pod.
Pod and Peacock Pod.
Oh, I
there's
love
somebody
the
in the
Jammer
chat.
Pod best though for
Yeah,
that year.
Jammer pod.
What was
Maybe
there?
there's someone in the chat who just gave you a shout out. They said, I'm watching with a future Rose Petal and told her Mayday might be one of her coaches. She's so stoked. She's thinking of derby names. 2 more years until she's 7.
Oh,
Hey,
so cute.
Bang coaches too. Bang coaches.
Yeah, I do.
The Killer Bees with me.
Yeah, it's so much fun. And Pixie.
And Pixie.
Man, we're a coach match made in heaven.
Oh man, those kids are so lucky.
They're so sweet. They're so sweet. It's so much fun. Like, they have the most insane amount of energy. And you could just like run them in circles for hours and they'd be like, that's cool. Like,
Yeah,
y'all get
oh
tired
well.
doing this? That's
They don't want to
crazy.
do it.
Yeah.
I'm tired.
Maybe they say
That's
this girl's
hard
name is
up-
Vera.
Vera?
They said that the girl's name is Vera.
Vera.
So shout out, hi Vera. I'm glad
All
you're
right,
watching.
hi
Hi, Vera.
I hope you're getting on your skates in the street and tearing it up. So one of my favorite things about the kids is that their learning curve is so quick. Like you can show them something, and 2 seconds later, they got it. It's amazing, so cool, and they just love each other too. They just want to play the game.
Yeah. I know all the juniors that I've talked to. Go for it, Coop.
I'm not sure how much time is left in the game, and the score's getting close.
About 30 seconds. About 30 seconds left. 13-point differential.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think we got real nervous right here at the end. We're like, how about that differential for the whole game, and now it's like kind of tight.
We were actually taking a review as a timeout. I don't even think we reviewed anything. I think it was just a timeout.
Yeah.
To regroup.
No, I did actually review something because it got overturned.
Is that Kassassin?
That
to get lead?
Yeah.
We're just trying not to get penalties. Probably is our main goal.
Yeah.
And trying to get lead as well.
Our main goal is probably to get lead.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I remember that moment.
Oh, and then she goes to the box.
I felt bad because I ended up like bowling a jammer.
Yeah. But like right now, the High Rollers are just playing like gentle derby. Like no one commit a penalty. Just let this jam go forever, and everyone be gentle, be kind.
It's nice of you to say that, Coop. Considering I bowled the jammer into your guys' legs.
Yeah.
You weren't supposed to. You weren't supposed to.
I was not supposed to.
Just let this game end gently.
Well, the Betties here are doing a great job of just like stifling Kassassin to just give yourself a chance.
We have to at that point because the second that Kassassin gets out, the jam is going to be over. So like,
yeah. I asked Kess about this one time. I asked Kess like what got her, or maybe I didn't ask. I remember her telling me that someone was like running along the sidelines, like yelling at her, like, "You gotta go! Come on, you can do it!" And it was like I think either her former friend or teammate or something, and they were just like, "Yes!"
Is it that
one right there? That one right there in the green shirt and overalls. She was like running laps, telling Kess to get through the pack, and Kess was like, I gotta listen to her.
She had a huge like group of fans that came out from Hood River.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, big group from her old league. It was really cool to see them.
Gorge.
Yep, Gorge Roller Girls. They're pretty, really wonderful, sweet team. They're so nice.
Fierce team. I remember playing against them.
This was such a nice feeling, like just being able to
Yeah.
mesh with everybody, and it was such a yeah, it was a really nice feeling. We had really good opponents, and it was like yeah, it was a really nice way to start the season.
You
I
could see
remember
Daye.
not believing. I remember not believing that we had won even after we had won. I was like, "Are you
Yeah.
sure? Like, did we just do that?" Because like the whole game, I convinced myself I cannot let myself think that we could win this. Like the whole game. So yeah, I don't know. And it was just really exciting to be able to win like my last game. That for me, I was like, I'm gonna go out and like having two kids. It's really scary. Like be thinking like, can I come back to Derby again when I have two at home that I'd be ditching? So I remember just thinking this could be the last one, and I just really want to win. So I just want to thank you, Betties, for letting me have this one thing.
Our pleasure.
Yeah.
I broke my leg for you.
I don't know if we're going to be doing high fives again when we come back, but I got to say that like being able to high five the crowd after a game like this is like the best feeling in the world. Like seeing all their smiling faces and seeing my team's smiling faces when they're coming around after. Ugh, nothing better. Nothing better.
Like even to have like the fans for like the other team like high-fiving you and telling you like great job, it just feels so great.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get to see like how much fun they had watching.
Yeah. Oh God, and the kids. There's so many juniors that like go crazy. They're out there with their hand up.
Yeah. I know me and Mayday's juniors, me, Mayday and Pixies, they always come out to the games and the parents come and support us and like they're so sweet. They're so sweet and they dress up in the High Rollers colors. It's kind of like that with every junior team though. Like all the Pedals teams come out for their respective coaches' games typically.
Yeah. And the adults always are like they're like, oh, look at these like cute kids here at this Derby game. That'll be fun to sit by them. And then they like realize they're so loud and they're so high pitched when they scream.
Yeah.
I think it's fun seeing the kids out there with their copies of Roller Girl and going up to the skaters and getting them, getting their books autographed, and that's always it's really sweet to see.
There's always like a couple really tiny ones who go up to Polly.
And
Polly, will you sign this? And they're like the same size as Polly, and like it's just adorable.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for
commentating
on this.
MVP.
Oh yeah.
Well earned.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. It was fun.
And I think it's Cassess in there also got MVP. Yeah. Also, she played an amazing game. It was so cool to see her get to skate.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure if we're going to be doing this again, but if we are, hopefully, maybe some of y'all can come back. And it's been, I'm hoping people on Twitch enjoyed this. And like I said about the other bout, it'll be up on YouTube at some point soon.
We have
Thanks so much.
Item that on the chat. There's an important item. They're discussing the dice kiddos that we have like cardboard like dice that children make. I just want to confirm like, we still have those, right? Maybe we still have
right
those.
behind
Yeah, we do.
Okay, perfect.
They're in the background here. Can you see them?
Great.
Yeah, we're storing them in the garage, getting until we play again.
Good. I've got a little one that will fit quite well in one soon.
What's that?
My little guy Taz, he's almost 4. He will definitely fit in one of them really well. Like he'll be able to walk around and dance.
Yeah, and I still got the baby one for your little guy.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, Taz probably won't fit in that one. Probably too big.
Someone suggests in the chat that maybe you should put one on, but
No.
They're for the juniors.
Yeah. This was really fun, you guys.
Yes.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
for
You guys.
anybody out there streaming, check out all of our social media on Twitch, YouTube, rosecityrollers.com. Subscribe on Twitch. And if there is a game you'd like to see next, drop a comment in the chat or in the YouTube channel, and hopefully we can make that happen for everybody. And have a great night.
Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.